Every Sunday afternoon, after the morning service at the church, the pastor and his 11-year-old son would go out into the town and hand out gospel tracts. That particular Sunday afternoon, as it was time for the pastor and his son to go to the streets with their tracts, it started raining very heavily. It was cold outside. The boy wore his warmest clothes and said, "Okay, Dad, I'm ready." His pastor dad asked, "Ready for what?" "Dad, it's time we gather our tracts together and go out." The boy replied. His dad said, "Son, it's very cold outside and the weather is bad." The boy gives his dad a surprised look, and asked, "But Dad, aren't people still going to hell, even though it's raining?" Dad answered, "Son, I am not going out in this weather." Dejected, the boy asked, "Dad, can I go? Please?" His father hesitated for a moment, then said, "Son, you can go. Here are the tracts, be careful." The boy was often out into the rain. He walked the streets of the town, going door to door and handing everybody he met in the street a gospel tract. After 2 hours of walking in the rain, he was soaked and cold, but he had one tract left with him. He stopped on a corner and looked for someone to hand the tract to, but the streets were totally deserted. Then he turned towards the first home he saw, and walked up to the front door, and rang the doorbell. But nobody answered. He rang it again and again, but still no one answered. He waited, but there was no answer. Finally, the boy turned to leave, but something stopped him. Again, he turned to the door and rang the bell, and knocked loudly on the door with his fist. He waited, something was holding him there on the front porch. He rang again, and this time the door slowly opened. Standing in the doorway was a very sad-looking, elderly lady. She softly asked, "What can I do for you, son?" With radiant eyes and a beautiful smile, the little boy said, "I'm sorry if I disturbed you, but I just want to tell you that Jesus really does love you, and I came to give you my last gospel tract, which will tell you about Jesus and his love." With that, he handed her his last tract and turned to leave. She called to him as he departed, "Thank you, son. And God bless you." The following Sunday, as the service began in the church, the pastor dad asked, "Does anybody want to say anything?" Slowly, in the back row of the church, an elderly lady stood up. As she began to speak, a look of glorious radiance came from her face. "No one in this church knows me. I've never been here before. My husband passed away some time ago, leaving me totally alone in this world. Last Sunday, being a particularly cold and rainy day, I felt no hope or desire to live. So I took a rope and a chair to the attic of my home. I fastened the rope securely to the roof, then stood on the chair, and fastened the other end of the rope around my neck. I was about to leap off, when suddenly the loud ringing of my doorbell downstairs startled me. I thought, I'll wait a minute, and whoever it is will go away. I waited and waited, but the ringing doorbell seemed to get louder and more insistent, and then, the person ringing also started knocking loudly. I thought to myself again, who on earth could this be? Nobody ever rings my bell or comes to see me. I loosened the rope from my neck, and went to the front door. All the while the bell rang louder and louder. When I opened the door and looked, I could hardly believe my eyes, for there on my front porch, was the most beautiful and angelic little boy I had ever seen in my life. His smile, I could never describe it to you. The words that came from his mouth, caused my heart, that had long been dead, to leap to life, as he exclaimed, "I just came to tell you that Jesus really does love you." Then he gave me this gospel tract that I now hold in my hand. As the little angel disappeared into the cold and rain, I closed my door and read slowly every word of this gospel tract. Then I went up to my attic to get my rope and chair. I wouldn't be needing them anymore. Since the address of your church was on the back of this gospel tract, I have come here to personally say thank you to God's little angel, who came just in the nick of time, and by doing so, spared my soul from an eternity in hell. There was not a dry eye in the church. The pastor dad took his son in his arms and sobbed uncontrollably. Remember, whenever you are in despair, and have given up all hope, God will always send his angel to tell you that you are not alone, and that he is watching over you. Pick yourself up and face all obstacles bravely, for success will surely come your way, as God truly loves you.